Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from New York City. You're watching WCS America, round of 16. And we got a team kill, we got a rematch. To close out the night, the winner of this series will advance to the round of 8.
So many team or alliance kills in this particular group. And that happens, you know, when you get to this kind of stage of the tournament. Friends will run into each other, friends will fight, friends will kill each other for the benefit of money, which is a horrible thing, and of course STARCRAFT caused all of that to happen. How terrible. But we do have Suppy, who has performed well in this group, now going against Revival. And Revival is called, I mean, he is so appropriately named Revival, because he always seems to lose the first series and then revives, and then comes back for a second try, and it works really, really well for him.
Does it on purpose. He's the zombie Zerg.
Yes, indeed he is. We'll call him that.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, we can go with that.
Let's take a look at the updated match card. Of course, for those of you just now joining us and want to know what the heck is going on, Hero demolishing the group. He hasn't dropped a map in this entire tournament. 2-0ing Scarlet, 2-0ing Suppy. Of course, Suppy being the winner's match means he did defeat Revival in the second match of the night, 2-1. And of course, after Hero versus Suppy, we had Scarlet and Revival. That was the last match we just saw. Revival taking the 2-1. So now we have Suppy and Revival here in the last match of the night. And I'm going to ask the players if they're ready. And interestingly enough, both these guys vetoing the same maps as last time. So we're going to have the same 3 maps if it goes that far, as the countdown has begun for this match to begin. First map is going to be Belshir Vestige.
Yes, it will. Okay, Suppy. Let's see what you got for us here. Showing good performance against Revival. Bit shaky. I mean, he himself admitted that he was extremely nervous during that match, and as a direct result, he was shaken up.
Yep.
But he should now have confidence going up against Revival. But you can't be too confident against a player you've already beaten, because we've seen plenty of reversals in this kind of format. As players are able to gather their thoughts, they have more knowledge of their opponent's style, and they're able to go in there with a fresh perspective. So, here we are here on Belshir Vestige, ladies and gentlemen, to the northwest position. The college student currently studying at UC Berkeley in the red trunks, playing Zerg. He is Evil Genius's Suppy. And will he sup from the cup of victory? One must ask. Against this guy. Already revived himself once in the tournament, but unfortunately, this guy only has 2 lives. Can he take down Suppy? He is playing Zerg to the southeast position. He is his teammate, EG Revival.
You Englishmen are so good with your puns.
Oh, that's pretty much all we do. I'm fairly sure we built an empire solely upon that.
Oh, that's awesome. So the map is Belshir Vestige, and these, if y'all remember from the match from earlier that happened between these 2 guys, same locations. So who knows if similar circumstances will happen, of course, just to serve a reminder. Suppy actually fell pretty far behind, but then Revival took an engagement in the top right that he probably shouldn't have. Suppy had a phenomenal position. Suppy able to capitalize on that and then carry through to victory. So, you know, it was a style, style versus style, Suppy versus Revival in that first match that was revolving around Suppy getting some early speedlings out, taking map control, a faster third than Revival, and Revival going for more faster upgrades for his roaches and then eventually into Hydras. So we'll have to see how these guys kind of change up their style coming into this rematch. It's something that's definitely doable considering, they've seen each other play before, and they're each going to realize that. So it's not out of the realm of imagination that they could start changing things up a bit.
Absolutely not. We are seeing gas going down for both players here. Now, Suppy can't necessarily rely on getting those great engagements time after time. A lot of those were mistakes made by Revival and not the other way around. We also shouldn't overemphasize the notion of getting a great concave. It sounds like a really smart thing to say, and it's just like, oh yeah, you had a great concave. The thing is that there comes a point, there's only certain times when that really matters. When you've got this gigantic ball of roaches, when half of them can't fire, that's when it matters. When you start to mix Hydralisks in, it matters less, because of course they have better range, they're able to contribute to the fight better. And then you actually do get those really awesome engagements. But it doesn't automatically mean you're going to win a fight just because you happen to have a nice little curve. It looks pretty, and it's a good firing arc, but it's not necessarily what you need to win. So, Suppy is going to have to bust out just a little bit more than that against Revival, who showed a great performance against Scarlet, really only getting caught out by a very strange build, and then making the right call, as we heard in the interview there, to 9 pull because he believed she would 15 hatch, which is exactly right.
And it's interesting because this is the same map that Revival decided to 9-pull, but not decided to do that in this game. This is the first game of a best of 3, so not too surprising to see that. Usually we just want to feel out your opponent, play a straight-up game, at least in the beginning stages, you know, past the 4 or 5 minute mark when you start making those decisions to go to the banelings and whatnot. And both these guys are pretty much making exclusively drones at this point in time. Speed, similarly timed. Gas is similarly timed. These guys are very, like, baneling nest put down by both these players.
Yeah,
pretty
both
much the
at the
exact
front
same
as
time.
well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always interesting to see. A lot of people like to read into the position of the baneling nest because it can indicate what if you want to be offensive or defensive. Both of these guys, like, I don't want you going anywhere near me right now. I just want to prepare. You'll see, of course, that Revival was trying to put the spine down. It actually got blocked off by the Queen there. Eventually, the spine goes down. So there's no question that Revival wants to be defensive here.
Yep, and Suppy not putting the spine crawler down just yet. He's making some zerglings though, so probably going to try to get some scouting information done, but it looks like he's about to put the spine down. Now, yep, there it is. Very safe move. Again, very standard play in ZVZ. A faster layer here from Revival.
Yep.
And, you know, Suppy needs to identify this. And again, this is the kind of the deviation of style. Suppy usually goes for that third hatch before the layer. Revival instead going for that layer a little bit faster than his opponent. I think on 3 gases too, so we'll have to see. Suppy about to scout some links. We'll have to see if he can scout that this is happening from Revival, and we're going to see how he reacts to it.
He could get in. I mean, the baneling nest might catch it, though. The Roach Warren's coming in. Single, gets blocked off there. That's unfortunate, but that one gets in. Sees the Roach Warren, sees the baneling, doesn't see that gas, but sees the lair, I believe. So, not exactly complete scouting information, but close enough.
Let's see if he saw it. Yep, he did see the lair. No, that's a great thing to be able to see, and we see him immediately putting down that third hatchery. So again, he's going to try to revolve around a lot of speedlings early, not necessarily upgraded. Again, he doesn't have an Evo Chamber on the field, but he just wants a good amount of speedlings on the field so that he can have that map control. He knows if his opponent went for the faster layer, so he's like, okay, my opponent's going to have the tech advantage, but I'm going to take the economic advantage and map control at this point in time. So we'll have to see how Revival kind of reacts to that, because what we saw with Revival, he had similar drone counts as Suppy in those games. Just take that third a little bit later. And it's a style that worked out fine for him. So it should be interesting going forward.
You know what interests me? For one, there's a lot... Oh, here we go. Never mind. We'll talk about that in a minute because the attempted run-by came in by Suppy trying to engage. A lot of banelings on the map already. That 4 gas is really coming into play here. Now, as I was saying, I'm interested because the 4 gas was taken. However, there's only 1 evolution chamber, so we're not seeing that double Evo style, which really needs that gas. Which makes me wonder, what is he going to do with it? What will he be able to add into his composition instead?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it seems like he's not really willing to commit into that. Oh, and there we go, Infestation Pit. So there's your answer, Mr. Total Biscuit. But right now, it seems like he doesn't want the 2 Evo Chambers just yet, because it's a little bit of a greedy play in a sense. If you're really hyper going for those upgrades, that does leave a little bit of vulnerabilities. That's money, resources you're sinking into something else that's not attacking units, that's not getting a faster third, that's not progressing towards Infestation Pit. So a stylistic choice, and it's fine, because it's not like his opponent is going for a double Evo Chamber, and he knows that, because he scouted the fast third, so it's not like he has to worry about his opponent taking an upgrade advantage. Instead, continuing with his tech advantage, getting that Infestation Pit on the ground, likely going to be Infestors. But, you know, Swarmhost's a possibility. Of course, usually you want 3 bases for either one, so we'll see where he does. Yeah, there's the fungal growth. Or there's the passion gland.
It does give him the, considering he is upgrading those range attacks, it does give him that the nice possibility of transitioning later on into potentially Swarmhost, but yeah, we'll see a more traditional style from Revival. He has not deviated from the idea that building roaches is good this entire tournament, so I don't expect it to happen now.
Now, the drone count is going to be very interesting as we continue forward, as these guys approach 3 bases and start wanting to have that full saturation on those 3 bases. Suppy at 57, Revival at 56, so very identical, and both guys still prioritizing the drones. So this is kind of a game of, you know, potentially scaring your opponent into thinking you're going to attack while droning behind it, and kind of identifying exactly what your opponent is doing so you can afford to make what we just saw, 15 drones in production from Suppy. So Suppy feeling very safe to make all those drones, and he's going to take an economic advantage going forward, but again, his opponent getting those infestors on the field. So I'm wondering what Revival's going to try to do with this. If he tries to, you know, posture around across the map, or if he decides to just hold back, use them defensively, or research Burrow and try some of that burrowed infestor tactics, which has worked well for our players in the tournament so far.
Yeah, I mean, if you know your opponent is not going for Muta, the chances are you're not going to be building Spore Crawlers, right? And I actually disagree with that fundamentally, because as I pointed out in an earlier game, it's really quite cool to see Spore Crawlers shoot down Overseers very fast. They're actually I think Zergs have been wrestling with the idea that killing an Overseer is really hard to do because they've got a lot of health. But now, if you actually build a Spore Crawler, it can really do some serious damage and knock an Overseer out of the sky. And it does give you that detection as well. So if Burrow Play comes into it, then you're in a much better spot. But I think, honestly, there's an over-reliance on Overseers in that respect. So you don't build the Spores and Stakes, and Overseer is more useful. It can go with your army. All right, let's see what Suppy wants to do. He is on the map right now. But he's not trying to engage. He is trying to get on that Infestor. He actually forced the fungal growth out with a couple of lings. I like that a lot. He, of course, gets the information he needs, and anything he can take would be good. And an attempted denial here by Revival on the 4th base will certainly not work. Has done some damage. However, Revival wants to attack. Suppy knows about it. He's going to have to move in to engage. The Infestor count may very well make the difference. There's less Roaches, but there are significantly more Infestors here for Revival, and he has Hydras in his composition.
So this engagement is going to come down to position. That's what it's going to be, because Suppy does not have Infestors. He doesn't have the ability to fungal grow, so he needs to split up his units. That's exactly what he's doing. Suppy is kind of known for this, spreading up those units, getting that concave heat, and he's going to go for it right now. But great fungals here from Revival. That's exactly what he needed, but Suppy has this superior concave. Upgrades are relatively easy. I think Suppy has the +1 carapace, and his opponent doesn't, though. That's definitely going to show here, but there are still more fungals available here from Revival, and as long as he keeps nailing those, he should be fine in this engagement.
Yeah, he's kind of stacking them a little bit, and as you're well aware, they don't stack, so you don't get the full benefit from that. But it's very, very hard to do since they only last for a couple of seconds each. So there's that 4th base is so vulnerable right now.
I don't know if you should go into this 3rd, because Revival's starting to get those reinforcements. Suppy all the way across the map, and fungals can kind of lock him in place. I think the better decision might be just take down the 4th, get your own 4th up, take the economic advantage, and go for that.
Get out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and don't get fungled in the process, right? Yeah. That's the worst thing to have happen. He's going to be able to kill it on the retreat. There we go. Nice move by Suppy, and the Infestors are not in a position where they can...
High ground.
Yeah, fungal from the high ground would be great, but it's not going to catch
as long as
it.
he keeps running.
Yeah, if Suppy's actually going to turn around and fight, I don't like this at all. Those Roaches are really badly injured versus fresh Roaches from Revival with fungals. That would be a bad call to make, and Suppy is going to take it regardless. I think the Hydras that came from the back might give him enough, but that line's about to collapse now with the reinforcements coming from Revival. It's going to come in from the right. It's going to Concertina right in, and Revival will take that fight.
A little bit dangerous there from Suppy, but it's okay. He just has to be so careful, because he's on a line where, you know, a few more Roaches can really push it into Revival's favor. An extra fungal can really push the battle into favor, but Suppy realizes he has an upgrade advantage. His opponent doesn't have that +1 carapace yet, which Suppy does have, and that's really showing in these engagements. If the upgrades have been equalized between these in these battles, Suppy would be losing these. He'd be losing these battles pretty convincingly. But as it stands, Suppy able to keep that 4th base alive, and Revival's 4th base, it's just now finishing. So we'll have to see if Suppy can try to threaten towards that 4th. Not necessarily go for it, but he could try to deviate some Roaches into his opponent's main, into his opponent's natural. He has map control here. He has the momentum, and he can try to really spread Revival out right now.
Well, he's got a small army moving towards the natural. Yeah, totally.
That's so worth it. Taking out the 4th.
He hasn't killed it. He'll kill it on the way back, I assume. If he misses that would be ridiculous. But unless he loses his entire army to fungals, of course, which could happen.
He can't run from this point.
Yeah, I think that's just a little bit too much, as you said. And Revival was prepared, especially with the number of Roaches he had. If he does, he has at least killed the 4th base, but he lost a lot more than he really should have there. Revival now takes the supply lead.
I guess trying to distract and pull Revival over there while trying to send some units into his opponent's main. I mean, it's okay because he has his 4th base and the better economy, but you don't want to overextend. Like, you don't want to overcommit. Like, I agree with denying that 4th base, but then trying to go to that 3rd, I
against fungals.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there wasn't any fungals and he had the option to back out better than he could, but Revival is now trying to catch the army. He cut him off there, and the Hydras are exposed as well. Coming in from both sides here, Revival takes out the right flank, is busting his way through, comes around the back as well. Great engagement here from Revival, crushing that army. Suppy tries to bring in reinforcements, but they, of course, meet further resistance, and now Suppy is behind on supply. He needs to back off and take a good fight here. He cannot fight here.
This started from losing all those units at his opponent's 3rd base, got caught off guard in the middle of the map, and now Suppy he has the better economy. He has the 4 bases. He needs to get his army together and be able to get a nice concave around this army, but Revival, he has the momentum. He's going to try to just push and potentially kill his opponent's 4th base.
Suppy's got a decent angle here, but the thing is, so has Revival, and with the fungals coming into play here, I'm actually kind of surprised that Suppy's trying to hold that 4th. I mean, it is very, very close, but You'd think the Fungals would win the day, and it looks like they will. Revival is able to break his way through, but the thing is, reinforcements are continuing to come in. It's an awkward fight for Revival, honestly, because he hasn't killed the 4th base. It's continuing to mine. Now he'll try and move down to get at it.
I think Suppy got greedy. He got greedier. I think I think he was smelling the win, I guess, and was just trying to take out his opponent's 3rd base.
There's the
but
GG.
He's going to have to GG.
A horrible reversal of fortune.
That's a heartbreaking loss for Suppy there.
Yeah.
Because I think he had that.
I think you're right. Like, the decision to engage on the 3rd was impetuous. Yeah. It resulted in him taking significant damage that he didn't need to take. I have no doubt that he knows exactly what happened there, and that he's kicking himself for it. He could have just taken the 4th base, back off. As I said, he still had his own
killed his opponent's 4th base. He had a 4th behind him.
Yeah, exactly.
And
just leave.
He's telling his Roaches and Hydras, you know, there's that rock. There's that rock outside that 3rd, and there's like a little tiny gap. Once you commit through there, and your opponent has fungal, you can't leave from that point.
No.
Because if you try to leave, you have to go through that little space.
Yeah, you just get hit again. As you're retreating, you get hit time after time by Roach and Hydra volleys.
Yep.
You take so much damage as you do, and then the counter swing comes into play. He gets a 20 supply lead, the momentum comes in from an equally upgraded Revival, swings around, hits that 4th base, and he didn't even end up losing the 4th because he just GG'd out before that even happened.
Yeah.
But you know, it was the right call to GG. He definitely could not have won from that position. And it sucks because he had that, and it was what many. I guess people like to use the term throw a lot, but I'd say that he did kind of throw that game.
He went full Korean there. You know, I guess the good news you can take from there is that, you know, he played really well leading up to that point.
Yes, he did.
He had all the
really
momentum.
Rock solid, man.
So
taking so many good fights.
For you Suppy fans out there, do not count this guy out. Congrats to Revival playing that impeccably, really taking advantage of the mistakes of his opponent, able to come back and push across the map, taking his opponent off guard in the middle of the map too. But guys, we got to go to a quick break, and we'll be back with Game 2 between Suppy and Revival. Revival currently up 1-0. He is 1 win away from the round of 8 at WCS America. Don't go anywhere.